No, my dad. I bought this shitty power boat in upstate New York a couple of summers ago, and it was a huge waste of money. But I bought it from this guy, and it had like the back of it was cracking. I mean, it was just the dumbest thing. But I bought it because where I was upstate, then we were on the Hudson River. So I had this weird idea to take the boat to New York City from Hudson, New York.
Hey, it's connected.
120 miles up. And I called my dad, who we don't really speak much, my dad, and I called him out of nowhere and said, you want to take this trip with me? So he drove, and I'm with my dad, who I don't really communicate with, and we took this trip down the Hudson River on this boat. And when we got into the mouth of the fucking Hudson here, New York Harbor.
The Hudson River isn't really that bad, but there are parts around Manhattan that are fucking treacherous.
By the way, I had no knowledge of boating or anything.
Oh no!
You don't need anything to buy a boat. You just buy it.
You don't really need a license.
You go to you have to register. You only have to go to the DMV to register the trailer that it sits on.
Yeah.
And when you do that, if they have one, they throw you a boating manual and say, if you could take a look at this.
Yeah.
So I just went out on the river just with no fucking idea. I don't even know how much my gas tanks hold.
Oh, you are fucking crazy. You're an accident waiting to happen.
You don't even know where the next gas station or the fill up will be.
Well, because I'm fine with if I run out of gas on the boat, and then someone takes it and they keep the boat. I don't care. So I stop at a gas station, I find this river community there is. It's really fascinating. I stop at a gas station, he fills me up, and I just I tell the guy, I'm going to New York City, tell me everything I need to know. So he goes, well, first of all, you're missing about 50 things that
are essential.
That you have to have. You're in illegal territory, and he gives me life vests. But because I'm buying shit from him, he's happy to give me information.
Sure.
And he explains to me that Hudson River is not a river. It's not a river at all. It's not a river with a source that's flowing to the ocean. Yeah. It's called an estuary. It's a crack
it's
in
affected
the
by
continent.
tides.
Yes, and it's basically the Atlantic Ocean sloshes up in and out of the river. And he says if you hit Manhattan at a bad time, you're going to be in the Atlantic Ocean, basically.
What do you mean? You mean it's all ocean water?
Great.
It's ocean water sloshing in and out, and it's flowing. It's flowing now, but it's tidal. It's a tidal estuary. And so there was, because when I was it was like glass. It was beautiful where I was.
Of course.
And he goes, it's not going to stay like that. Try not to get there around rush hour, because also there's ferries down there.
Yes.
That don't care.
Of course.
Who you are.
Yeah.
You do.
So that's, I don't listen to people. So I showed up at like 5:30 p.m. on the fucking Hudson River, and I'm going under the George Washington Bridge. I mean, it's the craziest thing I've ever done. I'm with my dad, who's 70-something. I don't even know how old he is. And my dad is trying not to show how much this is hurting his body, because I'm his son, and he's ashamed that I'm actually I'm fucking shattering his skeleton. His fucking teeth are falling out and shit.
He's just like, are you hearing that sound on the hall? That
oh man, we were hitting so hard.
Bam sound.
And I don't know how to ride a boat, so I don't know if you're supposed to.
You probably didn't have it trimmed out right or anything.
Nothing.
Like you could trim a boat out for water where you're putting the front end down.
I know a little bit about
water.
that, but I don't have.
Did you have your trim tabs?
I had a trimmy thing on the throttle, and I'm trying to make that hard ride, man.
But he's probably riding way back, just slamming into waves
so hard, and
you think the hull's gonna crack.
It's crazy, and then when we get further and further in, there's a point where I've got the engine running at full bore, and I ain't moving. I'm just going up and down, bang, bang, because we realized and we're getting soaked, and we realized that and ferries are fucking booking past us, just crazy honking at us, not stopping.
Holy
nothing.
Shit.
And I realized that, because I pictured, what's the worst that happens? The boat sinks under you, and then you just tread water and you wave at the helicopter.
Ferry picks you up or something, or the helicopter.
I realized if this thing goes down, the waves are we're gonna just disappear into black water. There's gonna be nothing left of us. And I'm trying to and also, I was supposed to park in New Jersey. I called ahead and rented a space on a dock in New Jersey.
Yeah.
And I'm
slip
next to Manhattan, and I can see New Jersey, but I can't move. I can't get across the river.
What kind
because
of
of the
fucking
ferries.
piece of shit engine?
No, and also these waves are throwing me like towards these big fucking cement walls in Manhattan. And
This sounds like a
fucking old
nightmare.
wooden pile. It's like the worst thing that ever happened. My arms are aching from like
trying to keep the boat.
In
Did
one
you regret
direction.
your decision?
I started to regret a lot.
Did you wave to New Jersey as you were heading toward the ocean?
Yeah. It took
Goodbye,
us.
Jersey.
Oh my God!
It took us about 4 hours to get the 120 miles from Hudson, New York to George Washington Bridge.
Yeah.
And from the George Washington Bridge to that big Colgate sign in New Jersey.
Yeah.
I think that took us like several hours. I mean, it just took all fucking day. I mean, it was the worst thing.
And then other times of the day, the water's sloshing out, and you know,
that night the way I got
you're
home was
fine,
I
yeah.
went home. I did research fucking like a person.
you knew the tides at that
I
point.
sent my dad home on the train because I had to get the boat out of there.
Shattered skeleton, and broken teeth in his hand.
Put about 50 years on him.
Holy
took
shit.
a few of the last few years he had left.
Oh my God! That's
And I got on
horrible.
the boat at like 3 o'clock in the morning. I got back on the boat and it was just like a piece of glass. And I stood on the boat, just going around. It was the greatest. Then that was the greatest thing. By the Statue of Liberty, around the base under Manhattan, went up the East River.
Yeah.
By the
By LaGuardia
by
and the
the
prison.
UN building and everything, and the prisons. And had the greatest right in the middle of the night with a fucking
I would love to do that,
radio
man.
blasting, just standing on this boat, just fucking.
And earlier in the day, it was
Amazing.
just bam.
Oh my God!
Oh, is that fucked
Was
up?
that the tides, though, or just all the traffic, or both?
Both, because the traffic stirs
Yeah,
up.
choose
After a while,
it.
it's this cauldron.
But it's the
Fucking sick.
when high tide hits in the Atlantic. Yeah, it pushes the water up the river.
Yep.
So the actual river's flowing down from
Yes.
the Hudson, but the tide is stronger, so it pushes it back.
Yeah. Pushing
it
Then
back.
when the tide lets go, all that fucking water that it pushed up comes rushing back in. But when you're going in when the tide's coming up and you're trying to go south down the Hudson River, fuck you. That's you're battling the ocean.
We're the
in
only
a tiny
boat-
channel.
We're the only boat going south.
Heading that way, and they were
The
probably
only
all
one.
like, "Who is this fucking
what is
idiot?"
going
And other boats were looking at us.
Yeah.
I noticed it because we went under the Tappan Zee. We went under all this.
Yeah.
And when you're on a little boat looking up at those structures, they scare the shit out
Oh,
of you.
yeah,
Like,
they're
it makes you
giant.
feel like you're standing on something
Like
too
you're
high. Like
nothing.
it gives you this vertigo
Yeah.
when you're by one of those pylons that supports the Tappan Zee Bridge, and you're going by it on a little boat. It's just, you feel sick to your stomach because you're like, this is all just too huge for me. This is like Blade Runner. Like I can't hack
Wait,
this.
what kind of, it was like a little motorboat? It was like a,
It was smaller than that shit that's upside down in Florida right now.
Well, that's a
that we're looking at.
20-footer that we're looking at on TV.
It was, I don't know how many feet it was.
Probably had
It was
like
four seats,
18
front and back.
maybe, or
and a little tiny fake cuddy cabin. And
Can I
that's it.
solve this mystery for everybody? The NFL player thing. It's so obvious what happened because the guy they rescued was sitting on top of the thing, holding on to the anchor.
Yeah.
When this fucking thing flipped over, it was every man for themselves, and it's
Yeah.
like, fuck you. I know we're all friends, but now it's like whoever the strongest guy is going to survive because
Yeah.
there was only one slot to hang on, and it
That's
was
right.
the position that guy took.
He was Kate Winslet while Leo froze in the water.
slipped under the surface.
I would bet money there was some kind of struggle, and this guy won over the other three because they all went into panic mode. Because if you look at the boat, there's nowhere else to hold on to.
Yep. It's possible.
You would think, maybe life jackets.
Yeah,
things
why
like
only
that.
one? It feels like they got in a fight about something else.
Yeah, maybe.
Like maybe, why are you in the NFL and I suck? That's horrible.
But-
People are dead.
But that's the
I
only
didn't know
reason.
'em.
That's the only reason one guy
Not my mom.
survived.
It's not me. It's not my kids.
That's the only reason
Fuck
one guy
you.
survived. There was the only one spot
Right.
available, and there was four of them.
That was it.
So they went into panic.
Maybe
the one
they
guy got
chose
up
him.
there.
Maybe they chose
Fuck
him.
no. The other guys just they're fish
Wait,
food,
the
man.
anchor, there's no way for four people.
Look at the boat and how it's tipped over. There's
What part was
nowhere
the
to hold
anchor?
on to.
What part was the anchor? That hole? That thing looks like a hole?
They said they were anchored.
I don't know. I don't think. Here's what I think happened because, and I'm taking it from my own stupid experience. The thing you don't realize till you're out there, like in any kind of bad waters, you picture shit from a movie.
Yeah.
You picture shit going down and that you just step off the boat while it's sinking, and then that you and your friends tread water and talk about it for a while.
Yeah.
And that one by one you try to help each other, and whatever a shark comes and eats one.
Ugh.
That there's this whole thing where the humans survive, but when a
Right.
boat goes down, It takes fucking a nanosecond for your dumb little lungs to fill with water, and you're
just dead.
Sink.
You're gone.
The other three guys.
You're being picked at by little fish as you're going down to the bottom.
Really quickly.
Yeah.
That's it. They're just, that lifeless fucking dull eyeball is just being plucked away.
Oh, God.
It's just weird that one survivor had a nice seat on top of the boat. He was,
well, he
king
was
of the
lucky.
hill.
He was king
He was
shit.
lucky, or he had better reflexes, because that shit happens really when a boat capsizes in bad water. There's just everybody dies.
Yeah, it's not a slow. Hey, I think we're rolling over.
Yeah.
This boat's rolling.
We're
underwater.
Oh, that's not
Gone.
oxygen. Whoops.
Dead.
I'm dead now.
But your boat story rules. I always want to go up and down that Hudson River, too. Now I learned a lot today from you.
Oh, it was well
I'm
worth
going to have to study some shit before I do
Well,
it.
because I learned, because when I went up to Hudson to get this house that now belongs to my ex-wife, we went, we found this town called Hudson in New York. That's this really, it looks like Nantucket. It's a very colonial looking kind of, it looks like a New England town. And I read about it and I found out that what Hudson, New York is, it's 120 miles up the river. And what it is they were people from Nantucket who were whalers. And back in the 1800s, the British kept just burning their ships and burning their town. The British would just sit outside of Nantucket and just lob.
Those British.
There was no war going on. They were
bastards.
just being assholes. Seriously. During the 1800s, that's the War of 1812 was just the British just being dicks.
Yeah.
And us going, you really got to cut the shit. And them going, hey, fuck off. And just, they would just launch cannonballs and set Nantucket on fire for fun. So a bunch of people near Nantucket said, let's just get out of here. And they all left together, all these whalers. And they found Hudson, New York, which was a nice place to build a town up the Hudson River. And so what they would do is they take their whaling ships. This is the fucking 1800s. People, like, with wood and iron.
Yeah.
They took their ships and they go out into the fucking North Atlantic and they kill a whale. And they drag it with these boats up the Hudson River, all those fucking miles. And they cut it up and then send it down the river in pieces.
You know, that isn't right, man.
Oh, the whale thing?
Yeah, man.
Fuck.
Like back then, there were fucking whales. You could walk across the whales.
You had to get a
Fuck
to
'em.
England.
Yeah, I got to go to England. I'm going to just walk
Step across whales.
I'm going to drive my little fucking jalopy across the whales.
Exactly. But so then they were safer there. The English couldn't get at them.
They said, fuck it, we're going to hang
Yeah, and
out
then it
here.
became this port because people were, so farmers in upstate New York would take their sheep and slaughter them in Hudson and send the meat down river to New York City.
So fucking primitive.
Yeah, so
amazing. Yeah.
There's the town we bought a house in used to be all whorehouses for farmers.
Really?
They were whorehouses with stables. So like a farmer would drive his sheep.
You could fuck a girl or a sheep.
Yeah, it was
or
like a few
horse.
miles out of Hudson. So the night before you went into Hudson to sell your sheep, you'd put them in a stable and fuck a whore, and then take your sheep the rest of the way
What a
home.
great little system.
I know.
Everything like planned out,
simple then.
make people happy.
Exactly.
Keep the economy going.
There's a guy that had an experience like you did that you just told. Steve in Pennsylvania. Steve.
Yeah, how you doing, guys?
Good evening.
Good evening. Yeah, Catskill, New York. 20-foot bayliner, single screw, 175 horse. I read the tide charts. My business partner had a 33-foot Carver. We used to take down and from that same marina, go down around the statue, come back. It was a great time. So I bought this 20-footer, put the wife, the two kids in it, my two girls, real young at the time, and I took off, big shot, down the Hudson, beautiful ride, and I got down to that area that you're talking about. I was doing prop stands where the boat was just almost just like straight up, the front of the boat straight up, motor just whining, hull banging.
Shit.
I finally get into a marina because I needed fuel. My wife and my oldest daughter got off the boat and said,
And you never saw them again.
Never
saw them again.
I'm running off at the gas station, guy. Fuck you.
No, that shit is gnarly. It's really fucking bad because it's New York Harbor. Manhattan. People don't understand. There is no Hudson. The Hudson's not on the west and the east. There's no such thing as the East River. That's what people don't understand. It's all in New York Harbor. It's a harbor of the Atlantic Ocean.
Right.
That on the left side, it looks like a river, so we call that the Hudson River.
Yeah.
And then we call the East River
It's
the
just
East River.
because there's Manhattan Island in the middle
of the sloshy, crazy, icy ocean.
Yeah.
So is it seawater? The Hudson's seawater?
Well, no, it's
certain times of day, it's
brackish
salt water.
certain parts of the day.
It's like salty.
It pushes the salt water
It's
water.
where, water, whatever the fuck.
And then when it's the river's running out, into the ocean, it's freshwater.
Yeah, and where this guy is Catskill. There's a harbor. There's a little place there where you can take your boat in and you get something to eat. I mean, it's a fun world, the boat world, but
yeah, it really
you
is.
don't know what the fuck you're doing, like I didn't.
I was in the boat world years ago with my mother and Sal. Sal was just Mr. fucking boat.
How big was the boat?
His is a 38-foot Sea Ray.
Okay.
I mean, it was really fucking nice, really nice. And he would drink.
You could park that shit anywhere.
He would fucking drink on the way from, like, I guess they were in where is it? Oakdale, Long Island, out to Watch Hill on Fire Island. And he'd be drinking fucking, we'd all, be slamming down drinks and stuff. He'd be making mudslides and blenders down in the kitchen, and this thing had like a galley and everything. And he'd be hammered and back this fucking thing into slips
Yes.
that like were, there's no way.
These guys are amazing. They can do that.
Dual screws, so he's running like the transmission to get the props going in opposite directions to turn the boat, so he could swing the thing around and then back it into the slip.
Really, the first boat I had was a little orange, like with a white steering wheel. Like it just looked like a little race car, you know. And it was
a go-kart for the water
boat, like really tiny little fiberglass boat that I saw on someone's yard for sale for $800. And I was like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna just buy it." And I just knocked on the guy's door, and he was like, "Really?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll pay it." And I gave him the $800. It's just sitting there on a trailer. And then I'm like, "Well, now what do I do?" Like from scratch.
Yeah.
And I had an old Ford Ranger pickup, and I went to the fucking Napa and bought the ball
trailer hitch.
The trailer hitch. And I got the wrong size and went back. And then I put the fucking...
Already wrong.
Yeah, and then the guy watched from his window laughing as I tried to put a trailer hitch on a fucking truck. It took me like an hour sweating. And then I took it down to the Hudson where they had to, you back your boat down.
Oh, the Ram.
Yeah, and I have no idea how to do it or what
How'd
to do.
you do?
So there's an old man, literally an old seaworthy looking man with a white beard watching me do this. And I just decided I'm not just gonna try. So I just...
Oof.
It takes me hours to line it up because when you're backing something with a trailer, it jackknifes on you, and
backwards.
All of your instincts are wrong. Let
me tell you, I had a jet ski and I had the same problem until somebody told me, put your hand on the bottom of the steering wheel, and wherever you want the back end of the trailer to go, your hand. Let your hand go that way. So instead of trying to think right, left, I want the trailer to go this way. I move my hand that way.
That's really
and if it's
smart.
on the bottom of the steering wheel, and then it got to the point where I could do it with my eyes closed after a while.
Well, I backed it down, and
first
I
time,
also
oof.
the boat is strapped hard to a trailer, and the plug is out in the back of it. That's how you keep a boat.
Right, yeah.
You keep it strapped down to the trailer with the plug in the back. Now, what I know now is the way you launch a boat, and then it's tethered in the front by a winch.
Oh, yeah.
So the way you do it is you let go of the strap, you take the straps off, so it's just loose, only held on by the winch, and you put a plug in the back of the boat, so that when the trailer goes into the water, the wheels of the trailer go down in the water, and the boat floats on top of the water. Mm-hmm. Well, what I was doing was it's held to the trailer, so the trailer's dragging the boat, and it immediately fills with water. It completely fills with water, and it's also, because it's now weighs billions of tons, threatening to drag my fucking truck into the water, and I am peeling out.
Panicking?
What's Popeye doing watching you? Is he laughing
I'm
at
my
you?
mind. Oh,
A bit of a panic set
He's
in?
just watching, and I have the car floored, the truck floored, and the wheels going.
You're just trying to hold ground?
Just trying not to, because it's just a shitty rear-wheel drive, and the rear wheels are now in water, and I've just got water shooting everywhere and smoke, and now the tailpipe is starting to go in. Like, I'm going in the fucking water, and somehow I found some traction somewhere in there, and the whole truck like lurched forward in this screaming wheels. And the boat came out gung, with water splashing. It was the craziest spectacle. And I stopped and I look up at the guy, and he goes, try again. He goes, what'd you learn?
What'd you learn? That's great.
And so I got out of the truck, and I'm like, okay, there's a plug in the back. That was dumb to keep it strapped. I said all this out loud, and he's going, yeah. And he goes, he said, you know what? The guy said to me, you're going to be having the time of your life in about half an hour. And I waited for the boat to empty out. put the plug in, and if he was right, in half an hour I was on the fucking river.
Owning a boat is
great. With
Owning
beer.
a boat
With beer. Yeah, I'll never do it again.
Boy, how do you get it back onto the trailer? Like, what if there's people there?
You have to, if there's people there waiting, like expert boaters.
They'll start yelling at you.
They hate you.
They're not going to be
They
happy.
will
And
fucking yell at you.
The thing I can't do that those guys do is just fucking drive my boat back onto the thing and then, run up to the top of it and winch it.
You back the trailer into the water.
Yeah.
And then
Where's your boat while you do that?
Your boat is
tie your
kind
boat
of
off.
tied up, on the side. By the dock, you back in, you quickly, because you're running now because you don't want to be the guy. You get in your boat, you fucking give it a little juice, and up onto the trailer that's kind of halfway submerged. Yeah.
I don't have the skills, so I would use the ropes of the
You got to
boat
cut back.
and
would you
pull it onto the trailer. Sometimes, like
we're using block and tackle.
Yes, exactly. And I'm trying to, and my feet are now in water, getting cut on the bottom of the fucking river.
Yeah, really smooth
beer
by the
bottles.
ramps. Yeah,
Beer
where
bottles.
people throw their beer cans and bottles.
And I've gotten my fingers are bleeding, and I'm grunting, and there's a guy standing on his boat with his hands on his hips. Just fucking hating me.
All right, come on. I used to wait for can't back it up guy. They were the worst because you knew it wasn't going to get any faster once it got into the water.
No.
And it's like, you could see him trying to figure out if the back of my truck is going left, the trailer's going right. All right, I gotta do this. And then it's going off the side of the ramp, so he's got to go forward again, and you're just going, come on, come on. And you're just looking at your watch. Time is wasting. The sun's going down. You fucking want to get out there.
God damn it.
And once that guy told me with the hand on the bottom of the wheel, and then I would hang out the window of my truck and just look backwards, not even use the mirror because you couldn't really see.
No, the mirror doesn't help.
And just look out the back and steer it right in
really
there.
Smart,
and then getting in was the same thing. I'd back it up, take the jet ski and just right up onto the trailer. You clip the front winch thing on there, and don't even winch it all the way up. No. Now drive that fucker off the ramp.
And then you do your
take
work
care
out
of your
there.
shit in the parking lot.
That's what you're supposed to do.
Because there are guys strapping their shit down on the ramp.
Yeah, they're putting the beers back in a cooler.
You could fucking do that in a parking space, you prick.
There's a guy, coal shoveler from Richmond. He writes, "Tell Louis that there are old retired guys that sit down by the boat ramps just to watch people like him and laugh at him." It's a hobby for these guys.
Sharing
really
beers, laughing. The boat world is interesting because it's two kinds of people. There are these sort of anarchist, fuck the world people that you can tell they live on their boat and they hate you just for floating by. For not being them. And they don't pay taxes. They live on a, you know what I mean? They're just off the grid boat people.
Yeah.
And then there's these people that are holding on to this idea that they're Mr. and Mrs. Howell, these fucking people. Because in Hudson, this town I'm describing is a dump. It's all unemployed. There's no business up there. They have a boat club right on the river, and they're taking up the whole fucking river with their docks.
Why don't you come down to the boat club when you're done?
I thought maybe I'll rent a dock from them so I don't have to launch every time. So they have all these empty space. There's just no boats there. So I go in this shitty looking boat club. It's just a fucking dump. It's like a small airport, you know?
Yeah.
Like Syracuse Airport or something. And I go in there, and there's these people in white sweaters and white shorts. And I go, do you rent the docks? You have to become a member, and you have to, you can't become a member if you don't, if you don't.
Here's some production for you.
You need a reference to become a member. Tell us a little about yourself. And I'm like, I make more than all you motherfuckers.
Yeah, well.
This guy owns a fucking local car dealership, maybe.
Yeah.
And this cunt owns a Cumberland Farms.
That's where they go to feel important and rich.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, I'm famous, you motherfuckers.
My word, show people, not in our club. My goodness.
How much is it to rent a little space to park your boat?
A slip.
It's by the foot, and up there they wouldn't let me. They just wouldn't let me because I'm not a member of their community.
We know you're part Mexican.
Exactly. I don't remember what it costs. I don't remember. In New Jersey, it's vastly cheaper than New York City. You're like every hour you're sweating the hours. It's by the hour and it's by the foot and it's tons.
Oh, in New York, you can't just rent and keep your boat there all the time.
Well, if you're rich, yeah. And there's like the 79th Street boat basin.
Yeah, there's a few marinas down
that
around
has
Manhattan,
that's a public something, but that's about waiting lists and stuff like that.
How much do you think they are? I mean, is it like $50 a day? I mean, I have no
I don't even remember. I never rented in New York.
It's probably so much more expensive than having a monthly parking thing in a garage, that's for sure.
Yeah.
A lot of people pull them out during the winter and dry dock.
Yeah.
It's the cheaper
What's dry dock mean?
You go, you play
in the water.
Yeah, it's not in the water.
I mean, but like, where do you dry dock it?
It's usually a boatyard, a boatyard or an indoor warehouse. But then they actually take them on these big lifts and stack them on shelves in these warehouses or outside. They wrap them in plastic. Right. In shrink wrap, and then
that's what those
they
things
stack
are?
them. Yeah,
I always thought they were new boats for sale. I've seen those before.
It's a new boat for sale.
I'll have that one.
Yeah, and they stack them up, and it's cheaper, and it doesn't get as damaged. You don't have to worry about hurricanes and
dry docking. It's a lot. Could be a lot worse.
Yes, dry docking. There's another one.
Yeah,
another definition.
2 unclipped men in heat.
One with prostate problems.
Dry dock.
All right, so they'll wrap your boat in plastic. Do they come and get it off the marina for you, or you got to bring it to them?
I think they come and get it. I think you need a truck to You ever see those giant trucks with giant ships on the expressway?
Yes.
And you're driving just going, what the fuck is what is that? That has no business being on the road.
How big is like a good-sized yacht? Like a good-sized fucking rich guy yacht?
Well, geez, they get so huge.
You start getting over 50 feet, and you're talking like, you better know how to fucking drive this thing and with everything. No. You got to know how to back it in.
You know how by the way, you know how I got back to New York, back to Hudson, because it was pitch black in some of that. I took the GPS out of my car.
Oh shit!
With a suction cup. That's what kind I had back then. And I stuck it. I swear to God, it's the smartest thing I ever did.
No shit.
And I stuck it on the boat, and it fucking took me. It knew the contour of the river.
Yeah.
The GPS is like, dude, you're not on a road. I can't get you anywhere.
Take the fucking FDR.
But this is where you are. For your information, I don't know why you're here, but you're here. And there was a few times that it saved me because I couldn't fucking see, and I wasn't sure what part.
But it doesn't tell you where the rocks are.
Well, and also you can't. You have to stay within a boating. You have to
like him and Henry Fonda
there's a boating
fishing.
channel.
Lanes.
There's a boating channel, and you have to stay within it. But sometimes you lose the buoys, and you don't. You knew, and I did have a chart. Like I can read a chart, and I know where a boating channel is. But I couldn't see. I didn't know how far I was from either shore. I'm in the middle of fucking.
It's that dark out there.
There's a bay. There's a bay right after the Tappan Zee. If you're going north, something bay that's just enormous, and you really can't see the left or the right. So you feel like you're in the ocean, and it gets really scary.
You can get turned
the
around.
GPS fucking told me right where I was, and and there was times where I was headed towards fucking land that I couldn't see because it was just
car GPS.
My car GPS got me back to Hudson.
It probably says specifically not to be used for maritime or aviation use.
Well, you can load them. You can load them with those GPSs with maritime maps. You can.
Yeah,
but I didn't have that. I used the car get you home in your car map.
I ever did, and this was horrifically stupid. I bought a Sea-Doo, a 2-seater, sit-down jet ski, a personal watercraft, which obviously I couldn't afford. That's another story.
By the way, I was on all these boats I bought instead of groceries.
That's
part of why I'm not married anymore. The one thing I'll cop to is that I did really dumb things with my money my whole life.
They wound up giving me a $10,000 credit card.
Nice.
Because I had gotten a $5,000 one and maxed it out, but I was paying the minimum, so they just sent me another one and said, "Hey, here's an application." I filled it out, and I had some credit limit was $10,000.
You're a perfect customer.
Now I got a $10,000 credit limit thing, so I went right down to the fucking place where they sell personal watercraft, bought a Sea-Doo and a trailer. The whole thing came out to like $8,000. So I still had $2,000 left on my credit card.
Jesus.
And I'm paying 25% interest on a jet ski and stuff. Believe me, it was a nightmare. But I had the time of my life on that fucking thing.
Can you jet ski on the Hudson or no?
I've seen them out there. Yeah,
seen them a lot actually.
Where I went though, I wanted to get out to Watch Hill on Fire Island, so I drove out to Patchogue early in the morning, and I crossed the Great South Bay. And it was pea soup fog. I couldn't see shit. I ripped a chart. I went into a store where they sold boating charts and Hagstrom maps and looked for the page I needed and looked around and just tore it out and put it in my pocket. Wow. And I had a compass. And every like 2 minutes, I'd pull out the chart and the compass, line up which direction I was supposed to go, and just keep going. Wow. Through fog. And I could have been broadsided by a boat at any minute because I couldn't see. And then right when the fog broke, I didn't know where I was going to end up. I couldn't possibly think this was going to work. It said, "Welcome to Watch Hill." I pegged it. Fucking nailed Watch Hill from Patchogue.
Isn't that satisfying though? Didn't you feel good?
It was like I worked, but I only did it once, so I don't know if it worked or I just got really fucking lucky.
Wow. I would have just drove and hope for the best. That's the difference between you and I.
Go in one direction.
Yeah.
Every 2 minutes, though. And then
suddenly
you become
hyper-aware of how much fucking fuel do I have? How much did I put in? And
you start thinking like shit, like, because I would stop the jet ski, so I'd just be like, kind of bobbing in the water, and I'd have to chart out in the compass, and I'd look around and look down into the water, and I can't see anything. I'm like, I don't know where I am, man. I have no fucking idea.
Those are weird moments when you're like, I don't know how this is going to end up.
It's an adventure.
That's happening to me right now.
This is how people, and you think this is how people die.
Yeah, exactly.
They find them dead.
I used to say to myself stuff in weird situations like that, stuff like, hurry, but don't worry. Like, don't
hurry, but don't
just
worry.
Try to go fast without your hands shaking.
Yeah.
If you can. I was in Antigua once doing a show in Antigua.
Great.
And I took a jet ski and I said, how far out can I go? It's kind of a big jet ski. And this bored woman said, you have to stay between these two buoys. But she didn't say how far out I could go.
Yeah.
So I just kept going out further and further and further away till like the land is like a little brown strip behind me.
Oh, shit.
And I don't know nothing about water. So this is before I had boats or anything. And I'm starting to go up these gentle rises and then down in these valleys. And I'm not really aware of how that they're getting bigger.
Holy shit.
And I don't know how ocean. I'm in the Caribbean Sea.
You're in the fucking ocean, dude.
Which makes it harder to see the land now.
Yes. And now, so then at one point, the last one I remember seeing was that
perfect storm wave.
I went down. Yeah, it was like that I was going down into this valley of water, and I look, and all around me is blue water. I'm going to look up, and I just see blue water, just really gentle. It's being very.
It was tricking you.
Fucking
it
with
was
me.
tricking
and
you.
Then
it
I'm
was
calling you. Then I'm climbing one, and I'm going a little bit fucking vertical, and I don't know what this is. And then I go over the top and just fall.
Yeah.
Me and the jet ski just fall in two different people.
Holy
and
shit.
hit really hard, and then it all swallows me up. And I'm fucking in huge stinging pain. My elbow, like I fucking injured it, like I just couldn't. And then I come up, and the jet ski's in 3 pieces.
Oh, fuck. What did you do?
3 pieces. The seat, the body is bobbing around. The seat is
somewhere over there.
And then the handlebars, which have foam rubber on them, are going up and down like they're about to sink. And I look, and now that my eyes are 2 inches above the water. I can't I can't see land, nothing.
Holy
and I'm thinking, what, sharks? I don't know what this is.
Of course.
And then, and I realized I'm really fucked. And, I had the thing around my wrist that pulled the key
little
out.
lanyard, that stops the jet ski.
Thank God that held, and I held it. I was like, my fingers hurt for how hard I was holding the keys, because it was like life. And I swam to the seat. I just had, like, Bob in there, I'm like, Don't
tell me you put this fucker back together.
I need a plan. So I swam for the handlebars first.
You need that more than the seat.
Really heavy because they're underwater. I'm trying to hold them above the water so they don't weight, so that they're hard. I'm dragging them through water, and then I swam to the seat, I think, and then I got to the thing itself.
You're able to put the whole thing back together?
I threw the seat back up, and I sat up there. Now I'm just sitting. And I'm still going up and down and up and down.
It's hard, too, when that thing's not running. It's very hard to keep it level.
Yeah, the momentum.
It's like a bicycle. Yeah, it's like a bicycle. If you're not moving on a jet ski or a personal watercraft, the thing just wants to tip over and throw you off.
But somehow I put the handle. I jiggered the handlebars in there.
Oh, please! It's a nice show up until now.
Wait, all right. So you didn't need a screwdriver or anything, right?
No. There's a gentleman going by on a boat, and I jiggered. Never mind.
Yeah. There's no way you got this thing started again.
I put it together and put the thing back on the key, the kill switch, and I took a fucking breath.
And I hit that ignition. Now the ignition's on the handle. Isn't the ignition on the handlebars?
I don't remember how.
You have to plug something
No. It was on the body. It was like on the body underneath the handlebars.
Okay.
Wait, the kill switch is when your wrist pulls it out. This prevents it from going away.
Yeah.
Yes.
It kills the motor.
So I put the kill switch thing back on, and then I just took a breath and said something to myself like there's no, I can't pretend there's a God now. I never thought there was one before. So I'm not going to be a hypocrite and ask for help. I just fucking hope this shit starts. And I'm I think I might be dying today, and I started it, and it started. And I just carefully went up. It was kind of gnarly.
Because now you got to go back up one of the waves, right?
It wasn't as bad going. I must have hit some
like
weird
a road wave.
Because it wasn't as bad once I fell off the thing, and it wasn't as bad going back.
It was one of those.
My head was fucking burning, and I was also just getting sunburned by the second.
Let me tell you something.
When I came back, the woman's waiting for me, equally bored, and I didn't say nothing. I just fucking parked it and said, "Got my little license back."
It's all broken.
You know,
thank you.
Jesus, you didn't even tell her.
I didn't tell her.
People saying you should be dead.
It's easier on a jet ski to hit a wave head on.
Right.
Where the direction of the wave is coming at you. It's easier to go that way than to go with the wave. With the wave, you will fall off the other side of it. When you're going over a wave and it's coming at you, you jump it. And you kind of have a landing ramp behind the wave where the wave then tapers into water.
That's what you're supposed to do.
So when you go with the wave, that's when I noticed you fucking, especially if you're going real fast, holy shit, you fall. Wham! I've jarred my back really where I felt like I was 2 inches shorter when you hit.
By the way, the boat I took to New York, the thing I found out later again, and all in retrospect, is that boat has a cathedral hull, which means it's a flat, weird. It's not a
nice V hull.
It's not a V that's cutting through waves. It's this thing that's just pounding, just slapping. It's like a hand.
It's made for
a hand that's just slapping.
It's made as a river boat.
Yes.
Where it's a flat boat. Bottom. Yeah. Yes. A boat that's going to go through some waves, you want a V hull on it.
Nice.
Or
the opposite of the kind of boat I wanted.
Yeah, yes. You had it would have been better to capsize your boat and ride on the bottom of it
than to kill my father the way I did. So poor dad.
Is a jet ski like you should get one basically if you have like a big pool and just zip around on a nice still water. Yeah. Vroom.
They changed all the regulations because I used to go in Huntington Harbor and Asheville.
They don't want you to own those things anymore.
No. And here's what I would do. I had a front compartment that was supposed to be for a flare gun and other safety equipment. All that shit went. I'd load it with ice and just throw beers in there and go out into the harbor and just tear it up full throttle, drinking a beer.
Yeah.
And, the fucking patrol is kind of just going around, but they never bothered the jet ski. They didn't care until you get a few people that die, and then they put all the regulations in place. And now, from what I hear, you can't even ride there.
No, that's the thing.
And
There's
if you can, no wake, no nothing.
The way cold beer on a boat by yourself, there's something about that that's just sickly wonderful.
It's just great. You're by yourself. You got the power of a boat.
It has to be a can of Bud. Like drinking.
That's what it was.
If you're drinking Italian beers in a bottle,
the
you just
sea air, just
not the same. I've rented a jet ski recently, and the space they said, well, between that buoy, and that, it was unbelievable how awful it was.
Just little.
Yeah, it wasn't even worth taking the thing out. And they're just waiting to pull those guys over.
We jump boat wakes when they would come in, and now they would fucking lock you up for doing that shit. There'd be a boat coming in. And the boat would see you wanted to jump a wake, so he'd gun it, make a big wake. You'd come right behind the boat, and that got real dangerous because you couldn't see who was trying to jump the wake from the other side.
Right.
And so many people just collided with each other. People wouldn't look too on jet skis. Like the first thing you're doing, if you're really moving and you want to cut really hard left, look over your left fucking shoulder. Yeah. It's simple. It's like a car.
Driving. It's like driving.
People would just do it, cut, and wham, just get nailed by somebody else that's coming up on them.
So people would actually collide in midair?
As they were jumping over wakes, they'd come down on top of somebody else.
Yeah.
It was insanity. Crazy, but it was fun, an adventure. Like Louis said, you never knew if you were going to die that day.
No.
Let's wrap up. Get the hell out of here. Louis C.K., it's always a pleasure, my friend.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
You got the Orpheum Theater March 14th in Boston.
Sir. Yes, sir.
And all sorts of social anything else you want to promote?
Cleveland in April.
Where's all the dates? On your Facebook?
They're on
your Twitter, your website?
My website's the best place to go because I actually update it. The other things I never fucking do. My LouisCK.com or .net. It's got all my tour dates. I'm shooting another special, either in Milwaukee or Cleveland, whichever one I sell the most tickets at. Right now, Milwaukee's, I sold out at the show and we're adding a second one. So Milwaukee's kind of a front runner.
Nice.
Are they a good comedy crowd down there?
I did it last year. This place is the Pabst
Or over
Center,
there? Where
and
the
it was
fuck are
great.
they? Over
But I'm
there.
playing the
Yeah.
Playhouse in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Is it the big Ragu's place in Milwaukee?
Yeah, but Cleveland doesn't.
Never go from rags to Cleveland. Last year I sold out, and then I remember because it's not selling well this year. I was
Don't
like,
have
whatever.
money up there
And I
right
realized
now.
it sold out last year because of that shit with Maxwell. Like, blew
right.
up.
Oh, right.
That's why it sold out, because I got all this attention because that guy hated me.
Yes.
And this year it's back to normal, which is I just don't have that many fans in Cleveland.
All right. And Jimmy's out San Francisco this weekend?
Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Suck
and
his cock.
Suck his cock. And tonight I got Red Eye. I'm on with Ann Coulter, and I'm not sure who else is on.
Watch that. The leggy Ann Coulter.
Yeah. All right, let's get out of here. Thank you, Louie.
Thanks.
Also ask, look at the boat. What happened with your boat?
Oh, yeah.
That was all of a sudden like, wow, Louie's like a tabloid guy.
Popping in.
Louis
C.K. in his boat.
Just hanging out waiting
the
to
fuck?
be
I
I
rescued.
got stuck in the mud.
This new Black Crowes album.
It was my first day. Yes, it was my first day in the
Stuck in the
boat.
mud.
I just bought it, and I spent one day on it with some guy who showed me the specifics of the boat. But it's a big fucking boat with two engines, and it's really complicated to drive. And I took my girls out on it, and as we were pulling out of the marina, my daughter was like, "How do you know how to do this?"
Oh, shit.
And I was like, it's not that big a deal. Like, I was defensive with my 10-year-old. It's not that big a deal. I can do this. And we went around Manhattan, and I got in all this shit I had no qualifications
That's
to
a
deal with.
crazy waterway because
Yes.
the currents,
Especially on the east side.
especially what do they call that
It's
fucking
an actuary.
one?
Don't they
There's a-
call it Devil's something?
No, it's like something.
All the
K.
water.
Hell's
Gate.
Hell's Gate.
That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
All
Right
the
on
water
the top.
converges right there.
They should call it
It's where
Watergate.
the rivers kind of split.
Thank you,
by-
Sam.
The Long Island Sound collides with the Harlem
Right,
River.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
It gets a little dicey over
It's
there.
really
Don't
bad.
say the Harlem River around Anthony today.
No.
I'm all right.
A little sensitive.
It's been a renaissance up there. It's
Don't say
fantastic.
muddy
One
river.
moment when we were in that cauldron and we just smashed, like the boat felt like it was coming apart, and my 7-year-old screamed, and her sister held her eyes, like closing them. It was like it was really stressful.
Were you
But then we
panicking?
then we
I don't know,
get
is
no.
that
I mean,
crazy
it's
in that
nervy,
river?
but
It was making that smack sound on
Yes.
the water. The bow goes like bam.
was
bam,
really bad.
fucking-
It's
It's
where
a
the
bang.
River meets
Yeah.
The Long Island Sound.
the Long Island
It
Sound, the East
swirls
River,
in
the
such a
Harlem
way
River.
you've never seen before.
Yeah.
It's crazy
Yeah, it's
to go
all,
through
and
that
it kind
area.
you get whirlpools.
Like up by Yankee
You get all kinds of like
No,
lumber.
no, on the east side.
It's
Not
fucking
far
lumber
from Yankee
floating around
Stadium. Not far from there.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, well, it is. Yeah,
that
the
is east
stadium's
side.
on the east side. It's
It's
south
crazy
of there.
to navigate that.
It's
yeah.
just north of Roosevelt Island.
Yeah.
Right, correct.
And are you thinking I just want somebody who knows how to do this here right now with me?
And then we went up to the Harlem River, which is very, it's
awesome.
like glass.
It's
Yeah.
really nice.
And so now we got through it, and we're really happy. And I've got frozen burritos and macaroni and cheese. So we're going to pull over, throw the anchor, and we're going to make lunch. And so I find this little cove, this sweet little cove.
Nice.
And
In Harlem?
and there's people in a park next to it, and it's just a nice place. So I pull in there, and the boat just stops moving all of a sudden. And everything starts beeping because the
depth
boat is
gauge and
the boat is cooled by water in that it's sitting in. So now it's just sucking mud up into the this 2-hour-old engines are now packed with mud. And I just shut everything off because I know everything's overheating.
Oh man.
And my daughters go, "What's going on?" And I turned to them and I said, "You need not to ask me any questions for a little while."
Oh shit. Yeah.
And the park ranger calls over to me from the shore, and he says, "You ain't going anywhere. It's low tide. You're going to be stuck there for a long time." And I'm like, no, it's all right. I'm trying not to let my daughters hear this. And I call the Coast Guard, whatever, the Channel 16. I'm like, anybody can tow me out of here. And these cops show up on the boat, and they're like 50 yards away, and they're not going to come anywhere near me.
No.
And they said, yeah, you're going to have to wait till
Like you're
high tide.
infectious.
Yeah, it's around 1 o'clock, and I'm on the radio with the cops, and they go, you're going to have to wait till high tide. And I said, when's that? And they said, maybe midnight tonight.
Oh no.
Both my daughters start crying right away.
Did you stay the whole time, or did you get out?
You can't. There was no way to get out because in a few minutes we were surrounded by mud, and it was like quicksand. Like I put a stick in it, and it just fell into the mud.
Fuck. Were you embarrassed?
Fucking very.
One of the best questions I've ever heard. Quick, salient, succinct. Oh, man.
I was really embarrassed.
So you were pretty much just like, no more water. Your boat is sitting in muck.
Mud, yeah.
In mud.
Really
And
gross.
you're waiting for the tide to come back in. Were you afraid that it was just going to be stuck in the mud and
I was afraid
not
of that.
come up?
I was afraid. My daughter was like, what if we like keel over? What if we start tipping over? I'm like, that can't happen. And in my head, I'm like, that could totally happen. And the cops said they would go get us food because we couldn't cook any of the food now because it needs a generator to run the fucking oven.
How would they get it to you?
Well, that was a big deal because they went and got us food. The cops, they bought us a whole chicken and some rice. Really nice guys. Then they come back, and now there's a huge expanse of mud between us and them.
The food.
And they go, we don't know how you're going to get this. They put it in a garbage bag, and I start throwing a line to them, but it's not making it.
Of course
All these
not.
people on the shore, everybody knows who I am now.
Oh, no.
So there's people in the park and the shore who are just on a rail just watching me. And I'm throwing this, I've tied a pot to the rope. And I throw it, and it gets about halfway there, and I'm pull it back, and I'm covered in mud. Because every time the rope comes back, it's totally covered in mud, and I have to get the mud off so it's not heavy. Every time I go to throw it, all the people on the side, half of them are going, "Well, pull it for you, Louie. You can do it." And then when I miss, they go, "Oh man, that dude sucks."
It's like playing left field for the Yankees.
Yeah, it's totally the Yankee Stadium crowd. People booed. People booed.
Wow.
And I couldn't get it, so finally the cops pulled over a guy who was fishing, and they used his rod to throw me a line.
Cast a line.
They cast a weight over me.
Nice.
So you're able to
I
tie
tied it
that.
to a rope.
Right.
They pulled, and then I had to pull dinner onto the boat. I was so soaked in mud and sweat. Totally.
Then it was chicken mole after that.
That's right. Had your kids calmed down by that point?
They were great. My kids were amazing.
Yeah.
Then what happens at midnight?
We waited and waited. Once in a while, like it started raining a little bit, and I heard from the darkness in the park, some kid go, "Hey, Louis, CK, it's raining out now." This is crazy.
Asshole.
But the guys at the marina where I keep the boat, they're really cool guys, and they sent some young guy, and in a boat, and they just dropped him in the water, and he swam to us.
Jesus.
Crazy kid. And he came on board with me and helped me get it out. Once the water came up, we used the bow thruster to shove the boat
Oh, you got a
around.
little bow thruster on there.
Were you feeling it rise as the water's coming? Like, oh, God,
No, the
this
boat
is actually-
wasn't moving because the water was coming up and the boat was just sitting there, stuck in the mud. So that's why we used the bow thrusters or above
Shake
the
it
mud.
loose. Wow.
So we shook the boat around.
Whoa.
And it worked.
And at one point, the tide was starting to go down again, and the guy that was with me said, "It's your call, but we could put it in. We could turn the engines on and put it in reverse and try to get out of here."
What'd you do?
Yeah, it was like Apollo 13 because everything had been off for a long time, and now we're like, he says we have 10 seconds of battery. It was all this stuff.
Oh,
Yes.
So we fired up and just put it in reverse, and mud just. It was crazy.
We don't have enough lems to get Louis out of the mud.
Any damage to the boat?
It's pride.
Propeller was my
Little damage.
propeller was bent a little.
2 hours.
But now
Boat
the
was 2
hurricane
hours old.
threw my boat into a street somewhere.
Are you serious? The hurricane fucking totaled your boat.
I don't know. They said nobody. I was
They
at the
haven't found
marina
it
where
yet?
they had it. They said all boats came off their blocks because the surge came up under the boats,
Fucking Captain Louis.
and they said
Jesus.
all boats were damaged.
I think God is telling you not to have a boat, Lo.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to find another hobby.
What are you going to do
gotta
next?
find
Go
another
around Somalia? Jesus.
Now, Louis, didn't you have a depth gauge indicator where that would go like meh when you get in shallow water?
Yeah, the mud happens so suddenly. You have to know the waters, and you need to look at your charts.
Right.
You can't just look at the depth finder.
And the tributaries. You have to know them as well.
The depth finder tells you what the depth is directly
under your boat, right?
Yeah.
So
It doesn't
you can
tell you
just,
what's coming.
you'll just go up on it, and then it'll.
If he knew it was coming, he wouldn't be near Harlem. You were just going out there trying to catch Walter, and you and Billy hit the rock on Golden Pond. Where fucking Katharine Hepburn comes out with her fucking head boogieing.
Oh my God! Wow, that is fucked up, Bluey.
It was a funny day. Well, my girls went through this whole thing with me. As we came into we went down the Hudson River to go home at midnight. And I said to my daughter, we have to come back out on the boat so you can have a positive experience.
Right.
And she said, we just did have a positive experience.
Oh, that's nice. Plus, they got to stay up late.
Yeah. Well, they don't like staying up late. They're 10 and 7.
Yeah.
They just want to go to sleep.
Is there a downstairs on the boat?
I got a 10-year-old. He's like stares at the TV all night.
Does he?
Yeah,
well, he's a boy.
Yeah, I can't stop doing Colin.
Yeah.
Stares at the TV all night.
Well, why don't we take a break? Louis C.K.'s here. Jay
Watching
Moore.
C-SPAN like a weirdo.
Jay Moore is at Governor starting Friday. All right.
All right.
And I'm in
Friday through
Texas.
Sunday.
Yeah. And Jimmy's at the Addison Improv in Texas.
I'm at Governor
2 weeks.
Connolly's.
In 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks. 15.
He gave me the cue. I didn't know you were done.
Well, can you see my lips moving?
Yeah,
It's the Opie and Anthony show. We're blowing up.
I yelled at E-Rock. I'm like, come back. What are you doing? It's fucking 9:35 already. He's like, well, they want material.
9:35.
We go as long as we want.
Yeah. Go as long as you want, honey.
I got to go back home and power my house back up. Every morning when I leave, I power it down. I turn off the generator. And then when I go home, and that's exactly what it's like.
5 seconds to total shutdown.
I was telling him I went through a generator the other day. Saturday, my generator just fucking died. For
sure.
And it's like you're sitting inside. And you get used to the sound of the generator, and then it just goes, it's quiet, and the lights go out, and you're all fucking back in like a caveman again.
Mm-hmm. But I think Louis had the best point about you, Anthony. Of all people, how are you not like Mr. Generator when the storm's rolling
He's
in?
hooking that up. He's going to have you're going to have a 1,000-gallon fuel tank.
It's like you're a doomsday scenario guy, right?
1,000-gallon fuel tank, by the way. That's good for how, like, with 3 days? That's the crazy thing.
Yeah, exactly.
I think no one wanted to, so they just refused to take the moment of the hurricane to realize how much fuel we use.
Yeah.
Like,
it's amazing.
People downtown, really cool, green people downtown, didn't just refuse to notice. It's like
Yes.
people are sitting with generators like in the middle of the Greenwich Village. There's a generator. It's just pissing through gas to charge up 3 iPhones. Like when you plug your iPhone into the wall so that you can do really cool apps about how green you are and how liberal you are burning fucking tons of gallons of Arab fuel. It's so fucking. It's just hypocritical.
Arabs.
And you also realize when there's no fuel at gas stations, and then there's one opens up, the long lines that are out there. You start realizing how much fuel people go through when all the gas stations are open.
That's right.
It's a huge amount.
It's crazy.
It's insane. I am in a position now where today I'm dipping below a quarter tank of gas in my truck. I only have one more jug of gas for the generator. And my whole existence for the past 8 fucking days has been, where do I get fuel today? It's like the Road Warrior. You're just constantly trying to find fuel.
Was this storm, this was worse than Katrina, right?
Well,
no.
Nah.
The storm, not the repercussions. The storm itself.
The storm
I don't even think so.
itself.
No. Katrina
It was a Frankenstorm.
Category 5 or 4.
Katrina was a Category 3 when it hit land.
Yeah, this was a
which
1,
is
but it was
unheard of for
it's
land.
where it hit. And they were underwater, like they're below sea level. Their whole fucking
Well,
city.
they started below sea level. So I was curious if Katrina was worse or this one was worse.
No,
just the
Katrina
storm
was
itself.
worse. When you look at
I use my hands to show you guys what I mean by
but it was a
separate storm.
Katrina
when
was
you
a
look
much
at the Superdome filled with people shitting themselves,
But that's
and then
the
you look at,
repercussions. I mean, the
me
actual
with a
weather,
generator.
The actual weather. Which one weather-wise?
Well, Staten Island is
Staten Island got fucking
trash.
Somebody answer my
Long
questions.
Beach.
I'm tipping this
Katrina.
fucking table.
I'm telling you, Katrina was worse. It was a 3
had
or
to be
4,
worse.
and this one was maybe a 1 or a tropical storm. It kept getting downgraded and then back up.
But there were other factors that made this, as they're calling it now, the superstorm.
That's a- the
Frankenstorm. You can't just say
location-
that it was
No, it's a different story.
a one
It bolts in
hurricane.
its neck. The location was crazy because between Long Island and Jersey, the water just backed up in there. There was nowhere for it to go.
Just pushing that water.
and just went everywhere over the barrier islands and everything. Just fucking.
Louis could have used it when his boat hit mud.
Yes. Could have used
The
flood.
storm was worse. This one was because it happened to me.
Right, because you were directly involved.
Yeah.
Really, this
Fucking
was
had
worse.
to cancel 2 shows.
He's got 2 Emmys.
Katrina.
He's got 2 Emmys. He's sitting here with egg in his beard.
And we haven't found Lou's boat yet.
Yeah, I haven't found
You
the
want people
boat.
to find your boat for you?
What's that?
Can you tell? I don't know if you will. I'll just
What's the
ask
name of your
though.
boat?
Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
good
the name of the
question.
boat and how much it cost you that it's now just somewhere.
No.
I know he'll answer one of those.
I know. I don't think it'll do the.
Yeah, it was the name of the boat was Dogs.
Dogs.
With a G or
Right,
with
how
an,
much
with
it
an S or an, a Z?
It was.
What?
With an S or a Z. I'm not sure what he meant by-
You said G first.
Yeah, I did, but I
How many?
DAWGZ.
How many foot?
34 feet.
34.
We know about.
I got a pretty good
That's
idea.
a fucking big nut.
I got a pretty good idea.
Wow.
That's a big
pretty
nut.
good.
You know,
That's pretty good. Yeah,
nice
yeah.
So what did you? Why dogs?
Because somebody called me and said they're shipping it right now, and someone's standing there with a spray can.
You got to come up with a
Gotta
name.
come up with a name now. And I was busy, and I said, dogs.
Oh wow.
Wow.
That's it.
Works.
And I
Yeah.
forgot I did it, and when I went to take the boat out of Lindenhurst, I'm like, oh, what did I say that?
Yeah, I know. A better name would have been I'm a non-captain cunt. So what do? You pick it up on a trailer hitch, or they ship it to where you want
Trailer
it?
hitch.
I don't know. I don't know how it works.
It was being kept in,
It's a little big for a
it was being kept in Jersey City.
back
And
down
then
a
they-
fucking slip. Yeah, a fucking.
Yeah, you don't.
gonna Raritan
you don't
River.
launch
At
that.
the
Come on,
ramp,
son.
You take it down to the local boat ramp at Ashroken and
Let's
dump it
catch,
out.
let's catch some
that's not
sunnies.
Yeah, some sunnies.
The bluegills are all over the place.
No.
Who knows where the bass are, right, kid?
Snappers.
Yeah, with your
Let's go get
girlfriend in
some
cutoff
snappies.
shorts pretending to help
Right,
while you're
yeah.
launching it.
You're cranking that.
I didn't know it. Just I'll do it.
Yeah. Wow, that's fucking. That's a pretty big size boat for your first boat.
Yeah, I mean, I've
That
had
ain't bad.
smaller boats.
Oh, you
like
have?
little motorboats and stuff.
Yeah.
but I never had a thing like
That
that.
2 engines, you got to fucking
No,
work
it's got a
those-
spinning. It's
work
got
those
radar.
props. Right. That spinny thing is cool as fuck.
Everything but a mud detector.
Everything but a competent user. In the hands of an asshole, a total worthless piece of fiberglass.
But it was in the Post, I think. It was funny. That's
Yeah, it was. We
That's
saw
a
the
better-
pictures, and we're like, oh,
Yeah.
no.
It's a better story, though. It's like, I had a great trip around Manhattan. Who cares? I
Yeah.
got stuck in the mud. That's a
exactly
great
right.
story, man.
Beach,
I'm really.
fans on the fence like that.
Yelling at you.
That's right.
Seems
Louis C.K., it's starting to rain now. You should have bought a
It was like a
robot
little
ant.
kid, like a little Puerto Rican kid. Hey, Louis C.K. He didn't know, like somebody told him who that was. It's starting to rain.
Thanks.
Thanks
You
a
should
lot.
rename the boat to Follies.
That's a good one. Jesus. Now we're supposed to have more shit today, which...
When does that shit start? Soon?
Yeah, like fucking
now?
this afternoon.
Nah.
It's already getting a little gusty out there.
Today, it's supposed to.
50, 60 mile an hour winds
That's why
coming back.
I'm kind of glad they didn't turn my fucking power on because it just would have gone out today. My power goes out constantly. But it's going to take something like 6 months to put this generator in because I need all kinds of
Yeah, it's for
fucking
next
permits
time.
and shit.
It's for next year.
Yeah. And then they got to bury something that's akin to a submarine for the fuel and then truck in this giant generator, tie it into my house. But then when the power goes out, the entire, and I mean everything, I could turn every single electrical device on in my house, and this handles it. So
How long does a full tank last, though?
2 minutes, 3 minutes, something like that.
Couple weeks, maybe?
It's at full blast. I would assume 1,000 gallons of liquid
Less than a week.
propane.
Someday, an
yeah.
archaeologist is going to go through your neighborhood, like thousands of years from now. And they're going to find your house with that tank, that 1,000-gallon tank,
Yeah.
and be like, "This must have been the king of the whole. This man must have been the ruler."
But they're going to find a skeleton alone in the house.
He was very proud of his various weapons. He's surrounded by them.
His subjects all left him before the invasion like leaves falling from a tree.
Oh, by the way, some of Long Island has already lost power.
Oh, already?
Because of this one.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Watch
That's coming
this.
in
Just to
by a
fuck
few
me.
people.
Just to shove it up my ass for governors.
That's
Oh,
where we were
fuck.
born and raised, and every time the wind blows, the fucking power goes.
See, I'm from Jersey, and
every single
terrible.
fucking time.
Why is that? Why wouldn't you guys have a more?
Because they don't
I
cut down
don't
the
know.
trees and the
bunch of
wires are above
Italians can't get
ground.
together and go, "This is what we're going to do about the power."
Yeah.
It was going to be a bad week for Staten Island. people.
Yeah, Staten Island.
Staten
Long
Island.
They got nothing.
Staten Island.
I'm going there to do a couple of shows at the St. George, I think this Saturday before Thanksgiving. There's a place called the St. George Theater.
Oh, nice.
So I'm going to do two shows there.
Oh,
I think we're going to give half the tickets to people locally away that they can come, and then the other half for
You can do that
money.
when you're a big shot.
It's the best medicine.
Something you get to do.
Shot.
I'm handing out my CDs if anybody wants them. Just to make you feel better about your own lives. Here, I actually put this out and thought it was good.
Jimmy goes, I'm handing these out. $10, please.
The money's going to go to the fucking relief, some drug addict, if she takes my cum. Holy shit. I'm sorry, I like prostitutes. What do you think, they're college grads? They're fucking druggies. Who else would come to my house during a hurricane? You bet I did.
He did get one. He got one during the hurricane.
Yeah, she charged an extra $50 because she said the cabbies were price gouging her.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right.
But he got one in the middle of the
You should
hurricane.
have said no. That would have been so mean. No.
Well,
You pay it.
While people were losing their boats and homes, Jimmy was able to get a fucking
Get a hooker.
young lady to his house.
Great.
Well, hopefully. Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. Sure.
Any water play?
So,
No.
there's enough water play outside. Thank you very much.
Boom.
You didn't lose power, did you? You're still in the same place, right?
Yeah, no, I was.
Uptown we didn't. But my my kids were with me. Some friends from downtown came and stayed with me and stuff.
Oh, you let people.
What was Jay about to say?
I just answered
He's
like
just
he's talking to me.
answering Jimmy's
Obviously, he's talking.
questions.
Yeah, no, I was,
Yeah.
nothing. What I usually say.
Did you lose power?
No.
In the Pacific Palisades? No.
We
And
actually,
then,
we actually gained power. Everything got brighter. Big surge. A big white person surge. A big, if you get on a sitcom, buy a house here surge. And then your show gets canceled and your house goes into fucking syndication. And you're like, oh my God, the mortgage never stops.
Yeah, what
it's like
happened?
MASH. All right.
This other storm coming up now. I had to tie in an extension cord to my generator and wired into my panel for heat. It's been like 40 degrees and shit. So, and I was taking the advice of people on Twitter.
Jesus.
So just unscrew the front of your electrical panel, right? Look for the breaker for the furnace. Unscrew it. Tie it together with a piece of an extension cord, the black wire in there. Take the white one, put it on with the rest of the white ones, and then keep blacks and whites separate on the. Because even out with electricity, it's very dangerous to combine the black and the white.
Yes.
You get fire. And then just plug it into the generator, and there you go.
Worked, huh?
And the furnace turned on. I'm like, hey, nice. But it looks like it's gonna just catch on fire any minute.
It's jerry-rigged?
It doesn't look.
You jerry-rigged
good.
it?
That's not to
Yeah.
code at all.
No, not to
jerry-rigged
code.
it?
But you got to turn the mains off too, because you could
jerry-rigged it.
backfeed into the line and electrocute a guy that's working on the fucking wires down the line.
That's the price he pays.
Which after 8 or 9 days without power, I really don't give a shit about the LIPA guy getting zapped by my generator.
He went to ICDC college. That's what you get.
ICDC, which
One
one
of
was
those
that?
internet colleges.
Oh, okay.
Regional, I suppose.
Yeah, it probably is.
At this point.
It's like an Apex Tech here.
Everything you're explaining is like you live in a wagon train. Everybody circle around. We're going to make coffee.
It's fucking crazy. No,
I'm literally completely surprised that you, of all people,
I know.
How did you not knuckle down and see this coming? You seem like the guy that would have.
Well, I have a generator, but it's
He knuckled down. He just didn't think it was going to be 9 days.
Yes.
And with the looting and stuff, I make sure I'm constantly armed around my house.
Is there looting in your neighborhood?
Not a single peep of looting in my neighborhood.
And maybe it's the fact that you run around your house like Mickey Rourke and Barfly. It's kind of hard to fucking get together and hook that generator up when you're fucking face down on the linoleum at fucking 3 in the afternoon.
Because all the times they've come to put it in and you're like, go away! Go away!
Who the fuck is you? You're fucking naked
Mr.
with a
Coogan,
gun.
we had an appointment. Go away! Not now! Shh! It's
Has
okay,
there been
honey.
any looting in the storm?
Yeah.
Some would say.
Coney Island.
What about last night on the
looting.
internet? I'm reading that there was Black Panthers in Philadelphia and the National Guard was
One guy.
It was
Yeah,
one guy.
It was one Black Panther
one.
guy, and for some reason he was also.
Why would that intimidate
he was
anybody?
a-
That would make me laugh.
He was a Democratic observer. So he was actually supposed to be there as an observer and a Black Panther just standing there. It supposedly intimidates people for some reason, but it was an all-black neighborhood, all-black school where this polling was being done,
And they had
so
a
he wasn't really intimidated.
Obama mural over
Yes.
at one of the polling places.
school,
and people,
yeah.
people lost
Yes.
their shit.
Yeah, they
Some
covered
guy
it
came
up
up
with
to me
paper.
when I was voting. I was in a long line, and this guy comes up to me. I did this joke on the SNL monologue about the old lady in the airport, and I say that she was probably a refugee at some point. And I paint this picture of like
my husband died.
She's on a muddy road, and she's got some kid with a big Jewy hat next to her. Right?
That surprised me when you said that.
They actually said to me, somebody said to me, standards complained, but you know it's live. Do what you want. So I did it.
Fantastic.
And then anyway, so some guy comes up to me in line while I'm voting I'm with my daughter. And this guy comes up, a big kind of heavy guy, and he's got a lisp, and he's just sort of weird, and he's just kind of aggressive, and he goes, "Hey, you're that comedian, aren't you?" And I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "Oh, sure, you're funny, but what's a Jewy hat?"
Ugh.
And everybody turns and looks at me.
Holy shit.
And I just look at him, and he goes, "I'm a Jew. Do I have to wear a Jewy hat?"
Oh, God, no, this did not happen.
It did happen.
Holy shit.
And I just looked at him with no expression, and then he got nervous. I think he was hoping that I would go, "Hey, I have the right." And he just, and then it was really awkward.
Oh, you should have said it's a baseball cap with a K on the front, or a J.
It's a hood,
or an H.
Do I have to wear one?
Yeah, Jewy hat.
Well, you do.
Oh, God.
You're very Jewy. No, I don't know. I didn't say anything. What are you going to say?
That's
You
kind of
really
weird.
diffuse things well. That like I would have been self-righteous ass. But that's Louis.
It would have been a First Amendment fucking speech right there.
Well, you don't. It's like I always, you don't have to say anything yet. Figure, just look at him and see what happens. What's he going to do now? Yeah.
Now, your move still.
Yeah,
Still your
exactly.
He didn't have a follow-up.
He thinks that, okay, now
it's
you
your
talk.
move.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like,
Still
no,
your
I don't
move.
have to. Say something else.
It's like
passing your turn in Scrabble.
Bye.
Yeah.
And then he went outside, and that was the end of it.
And then he went on with his life. Told 8 people how shit I said that I didn't say, probably.
Oh, I'm sure it was,
And then he said, "How dare you?" And I said, "Here's how I dare."
He said I had horns.
He'll think twice before he makes another Jewy joke.
I think I set him straight.
Yes.
Lisp was bad, huh?
Yeah. He probably, I don't want to say it on the air, but he was probably
Homosexual?
A pitcher?
I'm doing the limp wrist.
Homosexual. We got an observation from a guy in Tampa.
Oh, good.
This is going to be pretty good for Louis C.K. It's Jay in Tampa. Jay?
Hey, Hope, I go back to BAB with you, man. Long time.
Long fucking time.
nice.
Jesus.
Well, we love you. I just got a question for you. How is it Joey can land a DC-10 and float it down the Hudson and you get fucking stuck?
How did Joey land?
Oh, Sully, the plane.
Land a plane in the Hudson.
Very good observation.
2 hours in.
Excellent observation.
Yeah.
I don't
phone
think
was
you
fucked up, Jay. Good
appreciate
job,
the complexities of navigating a 34-foot meridian. It's very complicated.
Sully landed in the Hudson River. No one died.
That is a great point. He did a better
was.
job with a 737 on the water. He did with a brand new boat. 2 cheese sandwiches.
Why are we happy that his boat's all fucked
Because
up?
it's
It's
that's just-
hilarious
because
when
there's
a
nothing
fucking
funnier.
yacht gets wrecked.
Yeah.
It's
really?
great.
Well, I don't know why.
What's better than your shitty friend gets a boat and then fucking winds up in the paper because it's in the mud? What's better than that?
Great.
Your shitty
It's the
friend.
greatest.
The only thing that made me anxious about it being in the paper was that I don't want people knowing that I have a fucking
That's true.
boat. But
Yeah.
it
Well,
said,
don't
it said
anymore.
Louis C.K.'s yacht.
It's on Bloomfield Avenue in
And
Clifton.
all these people online commented and said, "That's not a yacht."
Not a yacht.
And I was like, "Oh,
A
perfect."
pleasure craft,
Yes.
perhaps.
Yeah.
Yes, there was a disappointment on Louis C.K.'s boat.
Boston Whaler.
Lefty thought that he was going to meet Sam Traficante, but long way to go for a fucking Donnie Brasco joke. Hey, so what?
I don't even think you got there yet.
Jimmy. Dude, I got my yacht. You blow it up. You
That's
put the
it.
wooden seat on. You go fishing.
Did you take
don't
Bob
forget the
Kelly on the boat?
coffee.
I took Bob Kelly.
Bob,
out.
yeah, Bob
Oh,
talked about. You know
man.
what, dude? Just me and Louie on a boat, dude. Look at this. What do you think? Just two professionals talking it over. Shithead, you were probably the only one available.
Did you bottom out that time, too, at 1,000 feet of water?
Yeah, you were the fucking 18th person he called.
Bobby, these for you.
How was the trip with Bob Kelly?
I went to the Comedy Cellar and he was there, and I said, "Let's go
In a
to the-"
boat?
Nice.
Oh, we were hoping that you weren't on your boat, and all of a sudden you ran over him, and the propeller hit his back, and he popped up. Manatee.
Yeah.
He's a man.
He's got the swirly fucking scar on his back.
Yeah. Hey, dude, it's me.
Kind eyes.
I went out on it one night. I took Chris Rock and my manager out on it one night. Chris didn't want to go, and he came anyway. And we went out to the Statue of Liberty, and there was this thing floating in the water. Chris saw it. He said, "What is that?" And it was this big thing, and it was dark. It was night. It was like 1 a.m. So it looked like a raft from a ship, you know, like a big round raft. That's what it looked like to me.
Yeah.
And I yelled over, "Hey, is anyone in that boat?" And it didn't have any lights or anything. And then we noticed that it was coming towards us, like kind of with some speed. And Chris goes, "Get the fuck away from that thing." Like, it was creepy.
What was
So
it?
I backed away from it,
Yeah.
and I put a light on it, and it looked like a giant manhole cover sticking out of the river. This was the weirdest night of fucking ever. And it's right by the
Nautical mystery.
Yeah, right by the Statue of Liberty. It's like,
good one.
I don't know, 20 feet across, and it's moving. It's propelling through water.
Are you sure it was moving, or it didn't just
And
look like
it was leaving a wake.
Wow.
What the fuck?
So
Submarine.
I call up
Well, if the river.
Channel 16. I go, "Is anyone monitoring this channel?" There's something, because the Staten Island ferry was very close to there, and I thought it could easily sink any ferry. I would have sunk if I had hit it.
Yeah.
Really? Had you backed away from it by the time you called in?
Yeah. And so I called in, and then this woman came on. This is New York Harbor Coast Guard. Give me your home number. I mean, your phone number if you have a phone. So I give her my number, and this guy calls, and he says, "What are you seeing?" And I describe it, and he goes, "Describe it as well as you can." And my manager, I said, "What does that look like?" He goes, "I'm really sorry, but it looks like a submarine." It looks like the top of like the hatch of a submarine. So I go, "I don't want to cause a problem, but it looks like the hatch of a submarine." And it's headed towards Lower Manhattan. Like, that's what I'm seeing, and I'm sure it's not that. But my main concern is it's not lit, and it could cream anything that hits. It's going down. And the guy goes, "All right, well, I'll call a boat and send him to you." So he hangs up, and like 20 minutes later, there's nobody there. And I call him back, and we have the light on it, and I have this weird feeling like, is it going to shoot at us? Like, what is this thing? Like, we were really freaking out.
Fucking starts coming at you.
Yes. Chris Rock fell asleep. Like, he's just like, you guys are idiots, and he went to sleep.
You're
Are you
white
wearing
people
life
shit.
vests?
That's white people
No.
shit.
You don't wear life vests in your boat?
No, I don't usually. The
should
kids do.
Observe water safety.
What are you,
Yeah.
fucking Quint? Never put on a life jacket again.
Take a bat to the radio.
Submarine in the water. Our submarine.
So anyway, I call back, and they're not sending anybody. And at one point I got crazy, and I said, what do you do if somebody's? You are the Coast Guard. And I am saying to you now, there's a submarine attacking Lower Manhattan.
This is
I'm
like
saying it.
This is like Jimmy's story with the bus, only on the water.
Yes.
When you
Very
called
similar.
for the stolen bus.
It's like, why wouldn't, if that did happen,
Sure.
someone would see
Yeah.
it and call in? And they're like, we're trying to get park police over here. I'm like, send a fucking helicopter.
We know about it, Mr. CK. How do you know my name? How do you know my name?
Right.
They knew exactly what this thing was.
Oh, wow.
And he
Just get
kept
away
asking
from
me
it.
to hover. We kept hovering around it and stuff. And then finally this big police boat comes and shines like a massive light on it. And then he hails me on the radio. Hey, Captain, are you the one who
Captain.
who reported this? And I go, yeah. And he goes, it's a mooring ball. It's been there since 1965. It's just a fucking... And I go, I'm really sorry I wasted your time.
You didn't know? You've never seen a bunch of moorings dancing.
No.
Oh, I know. That was delicious. Well, that's all right. You thought it was Sean Connery defecting. How are you supposed to know?
Mooring ball. Oh, big iron fucking
Yeah,
floating.
it's on a chain.
Yeah, I guess people tie up to it.
Yeah, and I'm like,
big
what if
ships.
you don't see it? And everybody, the guy on most people navigating those waters know what the fuck they're doing.
Right.
That's why.
It's probably marked on a chart that there's a mooring ball
Probably.
there.
Well, when you were off to the side getting away from, because you initially said it was coming towards you, leaving away.
It looks like it was going towards me because it's on a chain to the bottom.
Yeah.
So when the current takes it
leaves
looks
it.
like it's moving. It's not just drifting
I
or
was
bobbing.
going to say, it must have, like, just the river moving, the current.
I have
made it.
no business being on the water because because it
there's
looks
that.
like it's moving in one direction to me because I'm fucking moving. So it's
Yeah,
making like a
sure.
circle. And I keep moving around it, and I'm going, holy shit!
Where the
it's
fuck are
going
we?
towards.
Jeez, we're really moving far away.
There's a giant thing coming out of the water. That's the Statue of Liberty, you idiot.
There's like a floating sea from another planet. That's Manhattan. It's New York City.
It's Atlantis.
I'm sorry.
I found Atlantis. I said that how I thought Anthony would have said it.
That's fucking funny, man.
I love your boat story.
They're fucking great. There's
wonderful.
no one that shouldn't have a boat fucking
Louis
more than
C.K.
Louis.
It's fun. It's fun as shit, to be honest.
Would you have sunk if you hit that, though? That would have killed
Oh,
you.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I would have hit it if I hadn't stopped at the Statue of Liberty to show it off to Chris and them.
Well, why don't they have a light on a mooring ball? It seems
Because
like
everybody that's actually out in the open New York Harbor I'm the only idiot in the
They
whole New
know
York Harbor.
it's
I'm
there.
the only asshole. It has some tape on it, some reflective tape.
Yeah.
They said it, But yeah, they don't expect
submarines
some asshole.
put reflective
They
tape
do.
on
They
their
like to be
hatches.
seen at night.
I'm sure if you
Don't
looked
trip
at
when
your
you're coming
chart-
off stage on the submarine. Put some electrical tape down so you can see it when you're coming off on the steps.
Tape down the cable.
I'm sure if you looked at
Thank
where
you
you
for
were
helping me on this.
and looked at a chart, it would probably be there.
Probably,
Like
yeah.
mooring ball
It's an old
number
mooring ball for-
625.
And if a big tanker wants to sit there, it hitches
Yeah,
to the
then
ball.
they just, instead of dropping an anchor.
Is that because it's
Yeah.
too? This way it prevents it from going to the shallower water to get close. It can do it in the deep water.
Yeah, it's simpler. Mooring balls are so you don't have to throw an anchor down.
Yeah, that's a pain
You
in
just
the
hang-
ass.
hook up to it and you're
Hang out.
You're there.
How heavy is a fucking mooring ball that it can keep a ship in place? What's it
It's
latched into the
massive.
water with?
But it's
Yeah, how
supposed to
big
float.
was this
Chains,
thing?
big chains.
How big
does
was
it
it?
float?
a safety pin?
How could it be that heavy
Or
and float?
leaf.
Yeah.
Well, like any, like a ship, like an aircraft carrier is pretty heavy.
It's a big hollow ball
It has buoyancy.
full of air.
Buoyancy.
And at the
Like,
bottom, it's a giant fucking
It's really hard
anchor
to push
of
air down
cement.
to the
Yeah,
underwater.
that's very hard.
Yeah, air is difficult.
Yeah,
That's a
very
great
difficult.
fucking story.
That is fantastic.
Two horrible boat
And you
stories.
stayed there. You stayed there.
Like an hour.
Waiting
Look at it,
to
man.
find out what it was. It for safety purposes for other people, or to find out what it was.
I was concerned about somebody wrecking into it.
Really? Yeah.
I wanted to go. I didn't want to be doing it. I wanted to go home, but
You probably thought it was terrorism.
you're the boat shit they give you to read.
Yeah.
You're responsible for everybody out there. so.
Yeah. Were you like running through a fantasy in your head of Louis C.K. Fucking terrorists thwarted by comic Louis C.K.
You know what's great? All Anthony said was Louis C.K. and we all burst out laughing. We all knew the text.
He's just daydreaming like,
Yes, everybody's
Fucking,
going
I
to know
showed
now that
them.
I'm really a captain.
Homeland
Yes,
Security.
but instead the headline reads in quotes, "Comic arrested for pranking police department."
Comic, local comic.
Yeah, you thought that there was going to be
Yeah.
good, cool. You saw something and you said something. Good job.
That's it.
Local comic, known for playing Grandpa's comedy club in Yonkers.
Comes across a piece of hardware that's been there since the World's Fair.
Yes. Yes, calling the police for being attacked by a giant bowling ball. It's a big circle and it's just hanging out there for 51 years.
Finally, somebody caught it.
God, that's funny.
I think we all need an update on the boat. Will you be boating this summer? I need to know.
So the boat they got dug out of the pile.
Yeah.
It was heavily damaged. There's a lot of holes in the fiberglass. And it sat on its running gear in a parking lot. You know, the running gear, the propellers are
Yes.
so very carefully honed. It's like
Yeah.
a musical instrument. So it just sat on them with all its weight.
It's not supposed to be like
No,
that.
so it's going to take some of the warm season to fix it. I mean, I got insurance money, obviously. The boat was
Yeah.
only a couple months old when it happened. So it'll be restored to full strength, and then I got to sell it.
Oh,
really?
Because I got another one.
Did you?
Oh, you know what? Guaranteed, it wasn't big enough.
Great.
You
went
I got a
bigger?
bigger one. I got a
Yeah,
bigger
of
one.
course. You never
I
get a
own
smaller
two boats
boat.
now. I own two boats.
Great.
Yeah.
You should take it out in fucking Amity, Long Island.
What size is the
It's
new one?
42 feet.
42.
Yeah.
And you're gonna pilot this thing.
That's right. Yeah.
It's a big fucking boat.
That
It's
is
a big boat.
42 is a big fucking
It's a
boat.
trawler. It's easier to manage because it's a trawler, so it sits in the water. It's not it's a displacement boat. It's not a planer. It doesn't plane up on the water.
Right.
So it just plows through things.
Yeah. Does it have a
And,
big high fly bridge on it and everything?
Yeah, it's got a fly bridge. It's got a huge tank. I mean, I could take this thing down to probably to Maryland somewhere for, one tank of gas. I could take it all the way to an island somewhere.
Yeah.
It would just take a long time. It's slow. Much slower.
Can you go out into the open ocean with that, though? Is that big enough?
Yeah, you
Fuck
can.
yeah.
I mean, the open ocean for us landlubbers, we think of it as just this one big, but there's all kinds of areas, and you have to. I could go to Martha's Vineyard or something. I'm going to try this summer.
Okay, that's that good first foray into open water.
Sure, yeah.
That's right.
Like cruising. That
worked out great for fucking JFK Jr.
That's right. That's right.
You're doing great. Taking around the fucking Hudson.
Is it just for pleasure boating, or do you fish or anything?
I don't fish or anything. I just really like being on it, and I figure that where I'll be with the writing of the show, the first 2 weeks of July I have off, so I'm gonna take like a floating writers retreat and just live by myself on the boat and go up the river. You can take a boat up the Hudson River to like the Great Lakes and all the way to Canada, and it's called the Great Circle.
You know how jealous I am? That's one thing I want to do.
I think Lewis and Clark proved that.
Yeah. Well, there's like a lock system you can go through.
It's
you
so
get
funny.
Lake Champlain.
It's like you just discovered it. You know, by the way.
Exactly. It's been known since 1785.
I will go. I will go up the Hudson River. It's something I want to do.
Well, it feels very apocalypse now. Joseph Conrad.
That's great.
Just kind of putt up the river because it's not a thing. It's not like a treacherous ocean journey. It's just moving and then throw an anchor once in a while. Sleep on the boat.
Out.
The boat has full kitchen. It's very
sure. It's
awesome.
full of all the amenities.
It's got a little motorboat on it that you can take. It's got a tender.
Great.
Drop it in the water and you can go home.
Yeah.
You won't be scared sleeping on that alone in the middle of the fucking...
What is a sea monster going to come? Creature from the Black Lagoon?
Bandits?
A billion bandits.
Fucking Somali pirates in the Hudson.
There's a lot.
Exactly. Who knows?
There's a lot of places that'll just tie off and just chill out.
A lot of places throw an anchor and or anchorages.
That's so great.
That sounds great.
Were you always into this nautical thing, or were you just kind of like?
Yeah.
You are,
I also like making trouble for myself because I can't afford it. I cannot afford this boat. I bought it outright.
No,
and I'm not the kind. I don't have that kind of money.
That's a lot of money.
If you're to buy a boat, you have to have tens of millions of dollars in the bank. That's who my fellow boaters are. Yeah, the guy I'm buying it from, that I bought it from, the new one is like he's a retired CEO of several corporations. And I'm buying his boat, and I'm like, I am a comic. And I had a good year. And I'm in debt. I'm in debt now. Yeah.
You don't buy a boat with how much money you have.
No, it's because you can afford a boat.
Yeah.
You don't buy a boat when you have as much as the boat costs twice. You buy a boat when you have so much fucking money that literally your accountant is like, if you buy a boat, you can save a couple of bucks on your taxes.
Right. You should be able to buy 50 of the boats.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, and you still have an income.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Fucking MC Louie.
It's going to be a fucking true Hollywood story. Louis C.K.